Hello everyone, welcome to your first flipped lesson of Advanced Algebra 1. Today our lesson will be on translating sentences into equations. And before I continue, just make sure again that you are in control of your learning pace. So if you need to pause or review any steps, then make sure you do so. Alright, let's get started. So our lesson today is going to build upon the foundations that we've laid in translating phrases into algebraic expressions to now translating sentences into equations. And English sentences, as you know, must contain verbs. So for math, we need verbs as well. And in sentences about numerical relationships, that verb will often be in the form of to be. And to be is just defined as is equal to. And excuse the writing, it's going to be a little tricky to write as neat as possible on the iPad. Other forms of the verb to be that you'll see in our word problems will be the following: is, are, and will be. So if you see these words, then you know that you are seeing a relationship between two or more numbers or values. Because last week we were already focusing on words that are associated with mathematical operations, we're just going to jump into our practice problems. So the first one we have here is 3 less the number is 44. So go ahead and write that into your notes in space number 1. And I want you to underline the word is, because that tells you that that's where our equal sign will be. And obviously 44. Now this part right here is where some of you got tripped up from last week. We have 3 less a number. Note that it doesn't say 3 less than a number. So our translation is just going to be 3 minus n. Okay? So now let's move up to problem number 2. So for this one, go ahead and write it down again. We have the product of 12 and the quantity 1 less than a number, d, is 15. Now here, I want you to again underline where we have our verb form of to be, and that is right here, is. So you know that that is our equal sign. So is 15. Now the beginning part is a little tricky. It says the product of 12 and the quantity 1 less than a number, d. I want you to take a moment and see if you can do that part on your own. So go ahead and pause. And once you're done, play the video again so that you can compare with what I have. All right, so let's break this down. We have the product of. So product means that I'm going to be multiplying two things. 12 times, and in this case, the expression of quantity 1 less than a number. And because it says 1 less than, 1 is being taken away from that number d. Whoops. So that is multiplication. So we have 12 times the difference of d and 1 is equal to 15. Hopefully that is what you got. And if not, make sure you put a question mark next to this problem so that we can review this together tomorrow as a class. Okay, on to our third practice problem. Now for this one, you will be writing your response in the online form, and you will get the answer tomorrow in class. So I want to see your understanding of what this says and how you would translate it. And here it is. Practice problem number 3. You do not need to write the sentences down, but it says, 9 days ago, a new radio station had been on the air for 13 days. Write an equation to represent the station's age now. So go ahead and write an equation to represent this problem, and we will check the answer as a class tomorrow. Now in some cases, it's helpful to draw a visual of what the sentences are saying. So here's one that is very applicable to that. We have a rectangle, has an unknown width, and a length of 4 centimeters. The area of the rectangle is 48 centimeters squared. Write an equation. So this is basic geometry. Area of a rectangle is length times width, or base times height. So your equation will just be 4w is equal to 48 centimeters squared. Now for problem number 5, you will again be writing your response in the form, but I also want to see a visual of what this problem says. And here it goes. The sides of a rectangle are x and x minus 4. The perimeter is 87 centimeters. So I want you to draw a visual for this problem. I want you to write an equation that will represent what this problem is about, or the sentence is about. and fill out that equation in the online form. So again, it says the sides of a rectangle are x and x minus 4. The perimeter is 87 centimeters. One thing I like to do in my videos is to make sure that you are watching and listening by inserting random notes, trivia, pictures, and so forth throughout the video. So here is a little quick trivia for you. What happened on August 28th, 1963? So 50 years ago. And no, I was not born. So don't be mean. Give yourself a moment to think. 50 years ago, Martin Luther King Jr. had done his I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. So this is a pretty significant date for American history. Right, back to the lesson. As you've heard me say many times in class, it is really important that you have a good grasp of math language. And so it's important that you, again, are very fluent translating any word sentence into a math equation. And so what I want you to do is just to review those words that we covered from last week as to what words can you associate with each of these 4 operations. Just 3 words. So 3 words for addition, 3 for subtraction, 3 for multiplication, 3 for division. And we will compare those words that you've come up with tomorrow. I'll see you in class, and if you have any questions, email me and make notes in your notes as to what questions have popped up. All right, see you tomorrow.